Hi, I'm Bob McLean. Thanks for checking out my cybersecurity channel. In this video, I'm going to talk about SolarWinds. And I'm going to talk about an aspect of the story that just has not gotten any of the attention or coverage it deserves. And with our congressional representatives suggesting retaliation, and with the hearings that have been going on and some of the things that have been coming out of the hearings, I thought it was really a good idea to cover IT's involvement in the success of the attack on the networks that were exploited. What do I mean? Well, the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency comes close to calling out some bad habits that IT has been dragging through time. They fall a little short of directly calling out these bad habits. But we need to take a look at them, because if we're talking about being a point of contention in international politics with sanctions and real world impacts that are way outside the realm of normal business, we need to have our ducks in a row. But the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, or CISA, published document Activity Alert AA20-352A. And I'm going to quote: CISA incident response investigations have identified that initial access in some cases was obtained by password guessing, password spraying, and inappropriately secured administrative credentials accessible via external remote access services. Password guessing. They were able to guess passwords that got them in to the networks that they were attacking. Password guessing. We've had the user community rotating complex passwords every 90 days for some time now. And we know that if the privileges were established correctly, these are users with user privilege and not administrative privileges. So what is protected by passwords that our adversary can guess? And those are service accounts. Now, service accounts are user accounts for machines, for programs, for applications that have to join the Active Directory domain. And the habits that have been configuring, or not habits, it's the practices. When a sysadmin is going to connect a new application server to Active Directory, the sysadmin is going to think, well, I'm not the only person that comes along and has to work on this. There are 4 other sysadmins, and there's the potential for this, that, and the other thing. So I'm going to, all right, we are putting up a new application server for the Acme Rocket Company, and the application has its own service principal name, so we'll use that. And the password, well, just because I don't want to get woken up when it all goes wrong, I'm going to, all right, the service, the password's going to be Acme Rocket Company, database for 01. I'll configure that as the password, and all the other sysadmins are going to be able to figure it out in a pinch, in the heat of an outage. And it's long, it's got some numbers, it's a password. A sufficient number of characters, a couple of numbers, you could even throw a symbol in there. But that's an easily guessed password, or it's a password that's easily cracked because it's related to the business, it's related to the name of the application. But the naming conventions and password conventions have been carried through from when companies first installed Active Directory and added their first application server to the domain. privileged access management can do a much better job maintaining and keeping the passwords, the service passwords, secure with long, complex, random passwords. And that can be run through different infrastructure, different jump boxes, different privileged access management server, and those can be audited to, with extreme vigilance, so that inappropriate activity is captured. If it's compromised, the inappropriate activity is captured immediately, instead of not for 9 months, instead of being missed for 9 months, as was the case in SolarWinds compromise. But the convention, managed service providers are going to be doing this on for their client environments, because managed service providers are going to be maintaining so many systems from different companies, and it's relevant to the small and mid-sized business owner. And this attack is not going to be limited to SolarWinds. In fact, in the next video, I'm going to talk about how SolarWinds Orion Management Platform compromise was the third initial access vector for this espionage campaign. Not the first, not the second, but at least the third. And there may be more. Stories are unfolding now about additional exploits, and I'll get to those in another video. But it's relevant to the small business owner. If you own if you own a manufacturing plant, and you might be a convenient stepping stone to the manufacturer of the industrial control systems controlling your plant. And if you have easily guessed passwords, you're just a hop, skip, and a jump to another supply chain, and you need to have your service provider ensure that your service passwords are complex and unique. Now, why is no one changing these? Changing a service password could break an application. You could break an application 25 days from now during month-end close, when two servers that rarely interact except for month-end closing get to do their thing, and something can't register and the application breaks in the middle of a very critical business cycle, which would be very bad. But we've had the requirements for user passwords, and those same requirements have to be applied to the service passwords, and probably managed by a privileged access management system. Otherwise, they should be changed and rotated manually. But this requires understanding on the part of management that securing the environment could break things, as long as everyone's on board to fix it. The other issue is that some services and custom applications were configured a long time ago, and they've been carried forward, and the people that have maintained that application, that would understand whether or not it's going to break when its password is changed, those people have long gone. So it elevates the risk of this change, but not doing it exposes everything in your environment to attack. The cyber espionage case is important for national security. The same attack methods can be used to turn your manufacturing plant off. The espionage campaign was not disruptive, but being able to walk through the same doors and guess passwords because they were easy exposes the supply chain of the country to malicious attack, especially when so much of it is now being run by industrial control systems. So this is all because when the attacker compromises a domain-joined system, in this case the network management system, it can list out all of the service names, all the service principal names, and get on with trying to break passwords. Now, if it can guess them, that's bad. If they're still related but a little more complex, they're going to be cracked. And when I say related, related to the company name, related to the service name. They're going to have components of the company and service name in the password. So those are the things that have to change in order to maintain a stronger posture. I will be back with another video in the series on SolarWinds and lay out some timelines that I've gotten from this primary documentation. And until then, thanks. I hope it helps.